You're listening to the Roofing Success Podcast, a show created to inspire roofing contractors to achieve optimal success in their roofing businesses. I'm the host, Jim Aline, the co-author of the books Internet Marketing for Roofing Contractors and The Best Known Roofer. I'm also the co-founder of Roofer Marketers, the leading digital marketing agency for the roofing industry. On each episode, I sit down with industry leaders to talk about their processes, the lessons they've learned, and how to find success in roofing. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast. As always, do us a favor, hit that share, subscribe, comment, review, do all that type of stuff. If you want to take the conversation beyond just listening to the podcast or watching it on the YouTube channel, go to Facebook, type in Roofing Success, and join the Roofing Success Facebook group. Really excited today. We have an important topic that's going to that really is going to have an impact on your business. Some states will feel it first. Some contractors in some states will feel this first or have felt it, and then some, it's coming. So today we have Roland Browne of Stonewater Roofing, one of the great Texas roofing contractors. How you doing today, brother?
Man, I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. So for people who don't know, for haven't gotten a chance to know who you are, tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into roofing, and how you guys built Stonewater Roofing.
Yeah, man. In short, lived in Austin, Texas. Got into roofing not by choice but by accident. Going through a little downturn there, and had the ex-wife yapping at me. At the time, I was in mortgage, believe it or not. Fresh graduate from Texas State, and quite frankly, I was making some money. I wasn't getting rich, and I got into roofing as a side job. I said, "Shit, hey man," the rest was history. As of now, I've been doing this 14 years, man, and I consider myself to know quite a bit. But hey, you learn something every day. But that's that being said, Stonewater Roofing quickly became one of the, top movers in the industry, and we've been growing by an integer of like 20% year after year, and that's just due to my team that I built around me, our structuring, our base, our knowledge, and so on and so forth. But Stonewater, as of late, has gotten into a battle that I like to say is not just ours, it's everyone's. And in fact, there was another individual, I won't mention his name, he was taking helm on the battle initially with UPPA and Texas Department of Insurance in challenging the UPPA rules as written, and that's the unlicensed practice of public adjusting, for those of you who don't know. That individual actually asked me to take the helm, and he would kind of take a back seat because he didn't want any of the blowback. Now,
and there will be some blowback, right? There's some. It's a fight. But one of the things that in our conversations that we've had, I was talking to you, and I think it to me it's a little bit in you because I know that even on a day-to-day basis, you're always leading from the front. In your day-to-day operations in your company, you're still out there on the front lines in the sales, leading the sales teams, doing out there. So, a little bit to your credit, I think you have that in you, right? That you're willing to go and do that.
Well, let's kind of take you a little bit back. I'm just a monster competitor, and my old football coach in college, he used to talk about people having a dog in them. You either have it or you don't,
That's right.
And certainly to be in this industry and thrive in this industry, you have to have some dog in you, But that being said, the fight is, it's something that someone has to take a step on, and, you can't be afraid. And honestly, the powers that be didn't think we would get this far, and we have. And we've actually got the wind at our back, if you will, at this point.
So let's take it back to, Texas. Texas made a change. Was it 2019 when they made that change? and moved everything over to the Department of Insurance versus there was the big change. So in the laws down there. So speak a little bit to what happened at that time and the intent that you feel was behind those the legislation.
Can't honestly speak to that. Honestly, not well educated on that per se, but I can tell you that how it is impacting us and how we pivoted to take on the battle and spearhead the battle for not only us but the entire industry. In terms of timeline, UPPA, I'm not sure when, and how, and so on and so forth. I just know that it's a malicious law that is currently in place, and it is being weaponized to silence the doers of society. And
so we noticed it. Yeah, we noticed it back in, I think it was like 2019. There was a big change, and the clients that we work with down in Texas, all of a sudden they got a little nervous about the language that they had to use in their sales conversations, in their marketing conversations, and they, it was and is a big deal. And I had some experience in the mortgage industry myself, Roland, and I watched that unfold in 2008 and all of the new regulations that came out of it. And one of the things that I learned back then is when they implement these new regulations, a lot of times there's a lot of vagueness to them, and then it takes then someone gets fined for what the regulatory agency feels is a violation, or multiple people start getting fined and in that regard, and then now we start going to court, right? And that's where the real conversation happens in defining the language and the use of those provisions that they pass through the legislative body. So you guys are in there fighting that right now. Is that what I'm understanding? That's where we're at kind of with you guys, is that you're in there. Is it in the language of the UPPA legislation down in Texas? Is that where the main kind of challenges or fight is being made, or what's break down that a little bit?
Look, so John Hoteling, I'll quote him. He said, the way Texas goes is the way all states go.
Yeah.
So we've got to win here, right? And I want to come back to your question there. With the UPPA violation, it is a restriction on freedom of speech. So our lawyers have argued that the Texas Department of Insurance has violated our First and 14th rights to speech. And we believe that if we're an advocate for the insured, if you will, the policyholders, as well as I do, that public adjusters do not want to take on anything less than $100,000, nor do lawyers. It's not worth their time. Mm-hmm. So there's a huge, demographic of the pie, if you will, that are being catered to by roofers. And this is an attempt by public adjusters and the like to get more market share, right? So, in short, we're out there on the front lines. We're kind of shaking the trees, if you will, and ultimately all leads that go to public adjusters and lawyers are coming from roofers. Now, what the law is so prohibitive, like it almost prevents us from being able to say or do anything, and that ain't right.
Yes.
There are cases where an old lady who's just got a $20,000, $30,000, roof job needs to be done. We go in and take care of it. We send the invoice off. All is fair and fine. There are instances where the insurance company can reach out to you and say, "Hey, Roland, I like everything, but I want you guys to change, line items 14, 15, and 16, and then take off your overhead and profit. We won't pay that." Well, by you agreeing to change that, you inherently have violated the UPPA laws as written. That ain't right. Okay, they called you. You didn't call them. And so we're just trying to restore the balance. There's been a overcorrection, if you will. If there's a pendulum that's swinging highly in their favor right now, we're just trying to restore the balance. We do understand that there needs to be some, I guess, guardrails, if you will. There's some bad actors out there. We ain't one of them.
Yep. And that's it. Even down to, like, this is one of the first things we noticed. even saying free estimate, like we'll provide you with an estimate versus an inspection. Like there were contractors that we were working with that were like, hey man, we don't want that word estimate anywhere because it violates this, the UPPA, like, because we're acting as if when it's on an insurance claim, we're acting as if we're giving an estimate of what it's going to cost, but that's should come from the public adjuster or the attorney or the insurance side. And there's all these little nuances. And so let's get back to, how did you guys get involved in this case in the first place?
Ooh, long battle. Where do I begin? I'm going to give you the short version of it. Had an unscrupulous client that sought to get a free roof from us. And we had actually bought in a public adjuster by the name of Rachel. I'm going to mention his name because I don't like the guy. But he's out of Dallas, and he's a former contractor turned public adjuster. And listen, I got nothing against public adjusters. Some of these guys, they're do-right guys, and they're stand-up, and my hat's off to them. But then you got a bad apple in every tree, right? That doesn't make the whole tree bad. I'm just speaking to the bad actors. Brought this guy on to my client, and long and short, he basically kind of like got paid for doing nothing. Called the guy, texted the guy numerous times, never answered, always on vacation. Well, I guess I complained so much to the guy that he saw fit to go to my customer and say, hey, you know what? Let me look at Roland's contract. We can invalidate his contract. You don't have to pay him the rest of his money, even though he's already done the job. But the client goes, well, fuck yeah, let's do it, Yeah. So they successfully invalidated their contract. And, of course, we're not going to take that because we already done the roof. We want to get paid for what we've done. We end up in this battle. We end up going to Austin. We lost there. We end up going to appeals court. We won there in Lubbock, Texas. 3-panel judge system. These guys not only agree with us that our freedom of speech had been violated, but they also remanded the course to go back to Austin, and it said that the verbiage is now strict scrutiny, right? So it's my understanding, and just for lack of lawyer jargon, that is the highest burden for them to overcome. So Texas Department of Insurance, shortly thereafter, that was a huge loss for them. They said, okay, well, we'll reach back out to the appeal court and ask for a reconsideration. The court said no, we maintain our stance. And now it appears that we are going to go to the Supreme Court next, which we look forward to because we want to effectuate change here. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And listen, I want to be clear with everyone here listening. I, like you, of course, we frown upon the bad contractors out there, the guys that are going around and absorbing deductibles and screwing over the old lady and not coming back and doing the work. Listen, I hate them just like anyone else. And I'm the guy that's on the bullhorn and calling out the guys on my tree and saying these are bad apples because they make us all look bad, right? And they ultimately enable the insurance companies to have leverage over us in the way that they do now, okay? I'm just asking everyone on their tree, if you will, to police their own tree. But that being said, we are where we are right now. Again, this is a fight, not just fight for Stonewater, but for the entire country. And, it's kind of, in my head, a misnomer. I don't understand why someone else hasn't picked up the sword at this point and fought this battle too. And there's only one such roofing company over in Florida that's done something similar, but not the same. And, you got roofers all across the nation. One of the things that I kind of, I guess, frown upon or raise an eyebrow at is, we're so fragmented as a whole. Everyone's out for their own and no one's actually together. Whereas, our opposition, the public adjusters, these guys they're well organized. They're in it together. They've got lobbyists and everything. And, I just wish that we were a little bit more cohesive as a group. everyone's out trying to compete against each other. That's great. It's good to have good competition. Listen, the guys in my area, I call them all the time, talk to them. We go out for a beer every now and then. It's not antagonistic. Never should be. But we ask that everyone kind of come together right now in this fight, again, lock arms and move the battle forward, because this is a win not only for us, but for everyone.
Yeah, there's a lot of power to that, and there is an imbalance at the legislative level. It's pretty clear. We were talking to a lot of a lot of people that were involved in the SB 76 rule down in Florida. Not sure if you're aware of that one, but it's that was one of those another situation where it was like, man, these insurance companies, their lobby is coming hard, and they are looking to really make changes that will potentially negatively affect the homeowner, negatively affect the contractor, and it's done around it was done around the narrative of the bad apples. Just
right.
Same thing that's happening down in Texas and in many states. It's those bad apples. So I like what you're saying there. Policing your own tree, and making sure that you're abiding by a high standard in your contracting company, because that will show out, right? That will show. Going back to one of the things that you said, a lot of these. And I think this is an important part. A lot of there's a case level, essentially. There's a number where public adjusters and attorneys kind of come into the picture, and it's usually not, like you said, below that $100,000 mark.
Right.
But that's where your consumer is, that they're trying to protect. Right, that's where the average homeowner sits, and so, man, it logically to me it sounds very opposite, right, of what they're trying to accomplish in terms of consumer protection in a lot of these things, and so that's a tough one. You'd mentioned strict scrutiny as a term. That's some legal verbiage that I think we want to kind of clear up. What is the other type of there's strict scrutiny, and I was listening to the court proceedings. I remember hearing that. What is the other way that they can look at things?
Ooh, you would ask me that. I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm not going to act like I'm a lawyer here. Our lawyers are doing their job. They're doing a great job at a huge cost to us.
Yeah.
But, I can't tell you all the legal jargons. I can just tell you
jargon. Yeah, it was intermediate scrutiny. It was was the other term, and I don't know the exact terminology either. I'm not an attorney either, but it was like there's these legal definitions that are being used essentially in the interpretation of the language of the UPPA rules, right? So in this language, it's preventing, like you're saying, and what you guys are one of the bases of what you're challenging on is it's a freedom of speech, right? And if you guys are contractors are directly involved in assisting the homeowners in solving their issue if they have damage from a storm, right? I mean, that's what you do, and good contractors have a level of knowledge that makes them very capable in that conversation. Is that
right.
part of what you guys are kind of arguing in that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're not licensed in Texas. Hey, I'm all for licensing.
Right. Yep.
We're with the Roofing Contractors Association of Texas. That's kind of like a quasi pseudo licensing of roofers, a conglomerate, if you will, who advocate for licensing. But do not tell me, as a Texas Department of Insurance, what I can and cannot do if you also don't want me to be licensed. Which is it? I mean, you can't have your cake and eat it too. And, to your point you just made earlier, it's brilliant. Think about it like this. The roofers on the front line, intimate knowledge about every roofing system. I mean, I don't know if you're out there selling or not, but a lot of times some of the insurance guys, I mean, they're asking me, deferring to me, hey, what is this? Okay,
Yeah.
that's my job, and I appreciate that. I don't take it like some kind of ego trip or anything like that. I try my best to educate him too, when and if he doesn't know. But far too often, you're out there and you're kind of educating the adjusters and telling them this is what makes up this system and so on and so forth. This is what's needed here. This is how we get it done. And a lot of the guys I work with are professionals. They appreciate that. But the insurance company, they don't want guys like me out there, right? Because a guy like me out there is actually going to cost them more money. And it's not about greed, not at all. It's about putting it back together in the same way that it was done before and bringing it up to code. It's not hard. So
yeah, and that's what insurance is for.
But if you carve that guy out of the conversation, the guy that knows how to do it, the guy that knows how to put your engine back together, so to speak.
Yeah.
You can draw a narrative with the policyholder and say, no, this is what you need. This is all you need. Well, ultimately, you're not being a good guy. You're actually going out there and looking out for your own pocketbook and trying to minimize the amount you pay to that policyholder. Now, that policyholder in many cases has paid you, insurance company, 20 years, 25 years on in and never filed a claim. And now when they have a claim, you're trying to limit the amount of money you pay them because you just don't want to pay them. That ain't right.
That's right. Man, it's such a battle on a day-to-day basis just with that, right? Just with getting the right amount from the insurance company to rebuild the roof in the correct manner, right? And go ahead.
That's right. One more point. I wanted to kind of interject. Yeah. I love this whole, everyone's, we're being nice to you if we give you the 10 and 10 overhead and profit. Well, my friend, everyone in the United States has different overhead. Everyone doesn't have 10% overhead. Your bigger company is going to have bigger overhead. That's just part of it. Yeah. And it's like pulling teeth trying to get just overhead and profit. I'm not even talking about all the other line items that are necessary. I'm just talking about overhead and profit. So it's a constant battle every day. We as a company have to make sure that we are in the black at the end of the day and not doing jobs for free.
Exactly. That you are in business to make a profit. They shouldn't inhibit that, right? And if you want companies to last and be around forever for a long time and build themselves to a level of knowledge, right? Like you guys have, like having the expertise in all of those roofing systems, you got to I don't know if reward it, if that's a good way to put it, but people have to be rewarded for their skill set. And so,
my friend, when I don't know something, sorry for leaving.
No, go for it.
When I know something, I pull out the NRCA books and pile in,
Yeah.
And that's part of it, man.
It is.
I don't know. I mean, for me, it's fun. It's an enjoyable experience. In most cases, you have a win-win solution for the policyholder and yourself. They pay their deductible, and you get them a brand new roof.
That's right.
In many cases, you increase the R value of the roof, and everyone's happy.
Yep.
When things are done right.
When things are done right. And there are, things are going to happen, and you are going to have those bad contractors, like you said. It's, there's always, I like to say, there's always that. I lived in Denver for a while, and there was a guy on TV there, Tom Martino, the troubleshooter. And he found all of those contractors that took grandma's money, you know what I mean? And they were, so there's this reputation that gets put out, and in the narrative, and then homeowners a lot of times try to, will select the lowest price and get what they pay for, right? And so those also help perpetuate that narrative of the bad contractor. Right. Instead of working with a reputable company, they take the lowest price, and not in terms of an insurance claim, but I guess sometimes when they're eating deductibles and things like that. Right. It's again perpetuating that narrative of the bad actor when there are a lot of good contractors out there. Right. Like and so getting together is something that's very important. I think you're right on top of it. are you involved heavily in the associations in Texas, and are they do they have a voice in this? Do you think in the state capitol, or do you think that there is a good path? Maybe that's a good path to start with the local associations.
I may be speaking out of turn here and answering you, but I'm just going to tell you straightforward what I feel like is the case. I feel like the Roofing Contractors Association of Texas is almost subservient to the public adjusters, their association, and the Texas Department of Insurance. Now, I'm sure I'm wrong on that, but I mean, it just seems like they don't want to poke the bear. And, they reached out recently and I said, where have you been? We're already $500,000 in. I would have liked some assistance, some reaching out, saying, hey, we recommend this, we recommend that. Never got such call until now. Now that I've got the win in my back and you think we can win. Okay. It's kind of like that old girlfriend that didn't want to be with you when you were poor, but now she wants to be with you.
There's something to that, but I'm happy that they did reach out to be fair. That is, at least you are hearing from that, but that also speaks to you guys are doing the right thing, right? You're doing the right thing. You're fighting the good fight. Let's talk a little bit about the long-term implications of this and how it is really a nationwide. The implications of what happens in Texas moves the needle across the country, like you said from John Hoteling's quote that I just butchered. What are the long-term implications? What happens if these battles continue to be lost state by state, municipality by municipality?
Well, I saw an excerpt recently from a insurance company in Florida, and it basically was a letter that went out to the client. I believe an old lady had filed a claim, and it was a pretty malicious letter that spoke to, bad apples out there. Don't let them give you a free inspection. Let us come out and inspect the roof free without the roofer there. That kind of narrative.
I saw that letter. Yeah.
Yeah. And it was. I was like, oh, is this the way we're going now? And it's almost like you're divide and conquer, right? You're kind of creating an us versus them narrative. When in all reality, we're just trying. There's a lot of good guys out there that have families like myself that we're just trying to feed our families and do right by our customers. No one is taking advantage of our customers. And the greater whole, I believe, is trying. They're a bunch of do right guys. I do. I truly believe that.
Yep.
Now, let me give you a ticker here that I think might help the audience. I want to go back to the RCAT, the Roofing Contractors Association of Texas, and the North Texas Roofing Contractors Association. Those guys are good guys. We do reach out to them frequently to get them to review our contracts. I strongly recommend, if you're watching this and you're from any state, that you engage in the same activity. You may not be in Texas, so you might want to reach out to the NRCA, National Roofing Contractors Association, and find out which association you should be reaching out to in your individual state. Reason being, you may not know it, like we did, that your contract was or is out of compliance. And, I'll tell you what, I told you I'm $500,000 in here, and if I can do anything, save you any kind of stripes on your back, that would be one easy way to do so. So I've kind of gone into proactive mode. We are on version 12 of our contracts within the past 3 years.
Wow.
And soon to be, there'll be a version 20. I'm pretty sure. But, you just got to protect yourself at all time. It's like boxing. I use that term frequently. A la Floyd Mayweather.
That's right.
But that's one piece of advice I can give the audience.
How is have you had conversations with the NRCA about where this is going or any of that? Have you gotten to that to the national organization with it at all?
Yeah, they've reached out and referred some individuals to us, and we appreciate that. So, on some levels, we are getting some support, and we appreciate it. Yeah. But to go back to your original question, how this is going to impact everyone, you don't want, there's already an imbalance with some states more than others. There's already an imbalanced drug, and that's only benefiting the insurance company and not the policyholder. I believe that all laws that go in place should ultimately benefit the policyholder, and you can't be window dressing something and making it seem like it's to their benefit, but really it's to yours.
Yeah.
And if we're all being fair, that's what we need to be taken care of. I'm a big fan of collecting deductibles and showing evidence of it. I like that the insurance companies do reach out and ask for that periodically. Doesn't frighten me at all. We keep that in record just in case they ask for it. But, I'm all about doing things the right way, and I encourage young entrepreneurs who are coming up in the business to do the same. And you'll go far. But I feel pretty confident in our ability to win this war, win this battle. I shouldn't say war. And I believe that's going to positively impact what we can and cannot do across the nation. Of course, that'll be challenged later on by other entities, and that's okay. We welcome the fight. Yep. But someone has to take on the fight. So that being said, Stonewater has stepped forth and engaged in this battle. And contrary to what others thought we would do or not do, we've actually succeeded where others have failed. And, like I said before at the beginning, that we feel like the wind is at our backs. But with that win in this battle, we're going to the Supreme Court, and we anticipate having to spend another $500,000 or maybe more to win at that level. We'd appreciate, even if it's $50 from the said roofer in Utah or wherever, Florida, if you get enough of those guys that are contributing $50, that $50 times 1,000 could end up being some large number. And, we would appreciate that. In another podcast, someone asked, where's that money going? It's going into the pot to help fight this battle with our lawyers and win,
Yep.
Because yet again, I say it, we are fighting this battle for the whole, not us. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me correct that. We're fighting it for us and hoping to effectuate change for all.
Yeah. That's a great way to put it. There is something in law that's called precedent. And, listening to the case, I was listening to watching the YouTube videos of your guys' case, and your attorneys and the judges there are going back and forth, and they're just referencing this case and that case and the other case, right? And those references are precedent, is what's referred to as precedent. So if they're referencing a specific case from a specific date, they're saying that this case gave a decision that led to this. And so we're arguing that our case is related to that decision that was already made. Right. So rule in favor of us because this is the right. This is what has been shown in the past that is in our favor. So what these do is they build upon themselves. These wins build upon themselves into future cases. So it's not just what Stonewater's going through and fighting this fight right now. A loss in this also becomes precedent. And so that's a thing for all the contractors, and what you're talking about, Roland, is to consider and maybe joining in and helping you guys with this. And we'll put a link in the description where you guys could check out the case. Donate if you feel it's something worthy of to donate to for that, and we'll do that. I want to swing back to contracts a little bit.
Sure.
How you said you've had to revise your contracts multiple times. I've done some real estate investing, so I GC'd my projects that whenever I did a fix and flip kind of project and things like that, and got into some arbitration with one of the subs, and there was an attorney that was arbitrating or mediating. Maybe it was mediation. I can't remember which term. Mediation, I think it was. It was a statement that sticks with me to this day. And that, why do they call them contractors? I was like, why? And he said, because they work off of contracts. And so that contract that you have is one of the most important pieces of your business. To have the teeth to be able to lien the property if you don't get paid on it, whether you have the right to collect the money or not, which, with Stonewater, the way that this case started, there's a lot of stuff that goes into that. So I just wanted to highlight that because I think that's an important factor in this. So going forward, so you guys won the last battle, and now is it is it being appealed by the other side now? Is that what's bringing it to the Supreme Court?
Yeah. Well, they haven't officially said they're going to take it to the Supreme Court, but our lawyers have told us that's their only out. They lost at this round. And their only kick up would be to go to the Supreme Court.
So they can essentially choose to take the loss here, or try to fight it on a higher level.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
And so right now, if they took a loss here, it would be pretty damning to their cause, honestly. And we don't expect them to stay on the sideline very long. In fact, our lawyers are telling us, we're preparing to go to the Supreme Court because we know that's where it's going next.
Yeah.
Only the question is, they were like, this is how much it's going to cost. Are you on board with that?
That's right. Yeah. Because there's always a cost to it, right? There's no, excuse me.
Of course I said, yeah, I mean, we don't have any choice. So, but I'm out there selling, like you said before, I'm out there leading the charge from the front for my entity. I mean, this year alone, I'll probably sell 10 million. That's from going out and door knocking and the like. I door knock a lot of commercial, and that's part of the game, man. I mean, you got to lead from the front. You can't be in Vegas all the time. You can't be over in the Philippines on the beach just watching everything work and cracking a whip from there. That's just not what it's about, man. And
be out there leading from the front, man. That's awesome. So. Back to, we'll like I said, we'll put the description, we'll put a link in the bio, but it's stonewaterroofing.com/TDI.
Yeah, /TDI.
/TDI. So that's where you could go for that. I want to end on a little bit of a lighter note here. There's a lot of heavy stuff that's going on, and everybody needs to join in the fight. But one of the things that I like to ask contractors, anyone who has found success in their roofing business, I love to get their insights on what do you think the greatest insight is that you could share with our audience that has helped you find success with your roofing business?
Well, everyone wants to be the jack of all trades, right? And the master of none. And I would say to everyone on here, you got to focus that energy like a lightning bolt in one sector. And for me, that's commercial. For the rest of my team, they're all focusing on residential. So that would be my advice. Of course, other CEOs, they may differ in opinion. That's okay. But that's my answer to you.
Awesome, man. Again, check out the link in the bio. Follow what they're doing with their lawsuit and the way it's going. If you feel like it's something that you want to be involved in, reach out. Don't donate to their cause. Reach out to them. See how you might be able to help. Roland, I appreciate your time today, man. This has been another episode of the Roofing Success Podcast.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
If you would like to generate more revenue through your digital marketing efforts, please visit roofermarketers.com to get a copy of the book, The Best Known Roofer. Also, check the training section of the website for guides on everything from running effective pay-per-click ads to how to properly set up your Google My Business listing. Thanks for listening.